Here we are.
We are here.
We're here. We made it. Episode 5.
Yeah.
Episode 5, right?
Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Micah grew a mustache.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's no longer translucent.
Got a tan. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's good.
That's funny.
That's good.
It's
Yeah.
no longer translucent.
That was a quick clip.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was well done.
Take that, Micah.
You're not here. We're making fun of you. Oh, but no, we have Mr. Hilde.
Which
what
one is
other
it?
names do you get
Hilde?
called?
Is it Hilde or is it Hilde?
No, it's
Jordan.
Hilde.
Like I've told Jordan before, he's the only one that ever says it correctly. It's Hilde.
Hilde.
H is silent,
Hilde.
but you know,
So
since
it's not Hilde.
well, no, it's not Hilde. I
start calling you
don't
Hilde.
like Hilde.
Hilde, you like
yeah, that's
Hilde?
rough.
Yeah, right.
Hilde.
I get that. A lot. I
Hilde.
get
You
that
get
a lot.
Hilde?
I get Hilde. Yeah.
Well, it's
You
just
really-
like Hyde or
Any
Clyde.
class attendance was Hilde, and I'm like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
No, since moving to the coast to the south from Florida, where my family was, it's people just go Hilde, and I've just went with it. You know, anytime I make a tag for myself, it's HILLDAY. I just go with it,
I
Hilde.
like that. I like that.
And I just go with it. But you say it correctly.
Hilde.
I don't like Hilde. Sounds goofy. So
That
Noted.
sounds a little goofy.
Yeah, I took Spanish in high school.
really,
Yep.
I
Very
have to say
cultured.
this. I literally just watched a video of a comedian, Hispanic comedian. He said, "Why do white people, anytime they encounter a Hispanic person, they always go to? I took Spanish 1 and 2. You know,
Did you really say that?
I can relate.
That's perfect.
literally just watched it 2 days ago.
That's
No,
funny.
now the reason that I said that was because we were talking about how to say Hilde,
I know.
but not like, oh, I encountered a Latino.
I've been to Mexico once.
yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
Cancun.
They're like,
like tacos.
Yeah.
they're like,
Cool,
I've never
man.
been there, man. I don't speak Spanish, so
Yeah.
we went to Colombia whenever we were. I was 18. Me and Nadine were 18, so we went there for like a church thing, and went to the mall, and I mean it's a beautiful mall, massive area, and so we're-
Cocaine money.
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot of that down
Runs
there for
deep.
sure.
Very
And
nice.
so we are in the mall. We go into the store, and my wife, of course. I mean, if you don't know my wife, she's 100% Mexican. Like, you know, so we're in an area where she just fits right in as far as looking like everybody else. You know, and so she walks in, and then they start talking to her in Spanish. And so she says, they say something to her, and she goes, "No habla español."
Yeah.
And they laughed at her.
I run into that problem.
Do you?
Oh yeah, because Spanish was my first language as a kid.
Yeah.
But like I said, my mom, remarried my stepdad, and we moved here when I was 3. So picked up English and essentially forgot Spanish. I do know, some stuff, but the problem you run into is like if I encounter someone who speaks Spanish and I initiate Spanish, they're gonna think that's all
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like you run into actually I don't speak this. I just knew that first sentence.
Poquito.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, oh, well, then they lose respect for you.
Yes.
Then they call you Hilde.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've run into that where it's just you just go with English.
What's even
Yeah.
worse is your mom teaches Spanish
Right,
at
yeah.
Stone High
Yeah.
School.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, she
I
teaches
didn't know
at
that.
Stone High
Spanish.
School.
I took
Stone Middle or Stone High?
This is bad. I took
Stone High.
in high school. I took Spanish 1, 2, and 3, and I took Spanish 3. Spanish 3 was really hard, and I did not do well in it. Like I said, I'm just not good at Spanish. To the point where we took a final, I barely passed, and the teacher wrote, "Don't take Spanish 4" with a smiley face. She said, "Don't come back." She was ashamed of me. I was like, "Yeah, I get it." Yeah, it's
Wow.
just, yep.
Did you take Spanish 4?
I didn't. No, she wouldn't.
for
No,
you.
just no. Yeah. I dishonored my family, so
Your mom's a Spanish teacher. You're not good at Spanish.
I'm not.
It's sort of like a pastor and their kid's not good at being a Christian.
yeah, yeah. It's a heavy burden.
It is.
It's a heavy burden.
See, you can
Being a
connect.
PK.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Right.
PK.
I can relate to you.
Spanish teacher kid. STK.
Yeah.
Ooh, gotta say that one right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
That's fun. Yeah. So we didn't. I don't know. We said your name, and then we just went on a
Tangent there.
trail
It's a
here.
guest.
It's usually how it goes, huh?
Special guest.
Special guest, Hilde
Right.
Escorcia.
That's my middle name. Well, yeah, my middle name, Forrest.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Escorcia was your
What was my last name?
what, and then
And then, like I said, my mom remarried my stepdad, and I took his last
Bruce.
name, but kept
Yeah.
my original last name.
That's cool.
As my middle name.
nice.
So yeah,
What was your middle name before?
Brando.
Oh,
Right?
Brando.
It's pretty
Let's-
sick.
Brando.
that's
Dude.
super cool.
Right?
Why
It is.
did you get rid of that name?
Well, you
That's
know,
way better than
Kept all of
Hilde.
them.
okay, yeah. So
He should have been Brando Escorcia. For
right. I mean,
I
it's
am Brando.
I
I am
really,
Brando.
I realized how sick it is now, but going through the adoption process with my dad, with
Yeah.
Bruce, I had the option to change my name completely. They're like, you can pick a whole new name, and
Ooh.
I was like 6 or 7 at the time,
You didn't know.
and I was like,
Didn't
Jack Sparrow.
understand. You said
I legit. I mean, the lawyer's at her house. She's like doing the paperwork. They're sitting me down. They're like, "What do you want?" I mean, you have the option. You can go with your name
Yeah.
now. And I was like, Jack Sparrow. And my mom was like, No.
Superman.
This is serious. And I was like, I'm serious, Jack Sparrow.
Nacho Libre.
Don't
Right.
tell me I have the choice
Yeah.
and then take away my choice.
Yeah.
Dude, Pirates of the Caribbean was roaring at the time.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. That was the first movie I saw in theaters. That just shows how young I am. Yeah, it was Jack Sparrow, and they're like, "We're not doing this.
We're
Leave.
gonna keep his name
You know,
Hilde.
no more adoption.
Get out."
Bruce is like,
Bruce is like,
I'm done.
I'm
Yeah.
out.
Bruce is like, you
Exactly.
know what? Second thought.
Right.
I don't think this kid's ever gonna be able to learn Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. I was ready to give it up there. I was like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Man, too bad he didn't say. I think I'd like to keep Brando.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know how cool it was at the time. I was just a kid.
Dude.
So
It wasn't Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando.
That's an actor.
Godfather.
Is that it? Oh yeah. Dude.
the OG.
Brando.
Missed opportunity.
Dude, you should
Right.
get adopted again so you can change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you have to get
the
adopted
only
and change your
Or
name.
just yeah,
Just change your name.
get adopted.
He all said he's like, can one of you guys adopt me so I can change my name?
Yeah. You realize you could have just changed it.
Start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I'm looking to
Change my name.
I need about 5,000
Need a
lawyer
sponsor.
fees.
Right.
Dude, you recently got your realtor license.
I'm a real
Oh,
estate
You're a
yeah.
agent.
realtor now.
Out of
Licensed.
nowhere.
Hilde, the realtor.
Right.
God,
Ah,
to be
very cool.
Brando the realtor.
Absolutely, dude.
Dude, you could have had like
Huh.
Godfather commercials.
Such a missed
It
opportunity.
is a
Man.
missed opportunity. Making me think about it. Man, that is awesome.
Brando.
Dude,
the
actors
realtor.
change their name to stage names.
Yeah.
Dude,
Stage name. You
man.
have a realtor
Brando,
name.
A realtor.
You don't
name.
need a. It's yeah.
Wow. I could do it.
You could do it right
could
now.
do it.
You haven't.
It's on my
really
license.
said
but
anything.
yeah, I know. I haven't
Change
really
your
made it-
license.
Yeah,
It's
I
worth
changed
it.
my license. Yeah.
Take the test again under the alias.
Yeah. I could do that. I'm a licensed real estate agent now, so that's
Wow.
the next pursuit in my life.
Let's go.
Hoping it works out.
Because you're also a
Firefighter.
Firefighter. So you're both, right?
Right.
For
yeah.
Gulfport.
For Gulfport. Yeah, every firefighter has a side gig
Right.
to supplement their income. Kind of have to
Yeah.
nowadays. We have the time. Our schedule allows it. So work for 24 hours. I'm off for 48. So usually do something. I've held multiple gigs. None of them that I really enjoyed. I cut grass for a little bit. That was rough. I've done just multiple blue collar stuff. Like cutting grass was rough. Going from like a 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
You're up all night running miscellaneous calls and then cutting grass in the middle of July.
Dude,
Sucks.
especially last year. Remember last
Yeah,
year?
I showed up to
Dude.
Brent's house to cut his
Oh.
grass one time, and
Dude,
I was
this
like,
is bad.
I'm like on the verge of a heat stroke.
Yeah.
I can't keep anything down.
Ooh.
Because when you're in a heat stroke, everything's coming out of you, so you're just getting dehydrated, and then it'll be like a Thursday, so I have to go to rehearsal that night, and I'm just
Yeah.
miserable. So cutting grass wasn't fun. So I decided to pursue. Well, my mom actually wanted me to pursue real estate. She took the class and she really enjoyed it. She was like, "You should take the class." So I did it, not really expecting anything out of it, but I learned a lot, and I was like, "This is something I can definitely do on the side, and eventually maybe full time."
Just got a lot going for you right now,
You
man.
do.
I do, yeah. There's a lot going on.
Real estate agent.
Real estate mogul.
It's yeah, that's what I'm going for. It sounds nice, but it's a very chaotic schedule, chaotic life.
I bet.
Just,
Yeah,
I mean, this
baby.
morning, obviously, I was 15 minutes late. Well, it's funny. I woke up at 4:45 because my daughter Ren, she's been doing this thing where she screeches at us. She
Yeah, that sounds about right.
lets out a velociraptor screech. It gets our attention for sure.
Yeah.
But just happy, angry, sad, whatever. But this morning at 4:45, and she does it in her sleep. So this morning 4:45, just a screech. Wake up, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm up now.
Yeah.
So I've been up since 4:45.
Good.
You know, being productive. But I did get confused with the time. So
You do your cold plunge?
no, I didn't. I did go. I went for a run, drank some coffee. Brent texted me, said 9 o'clock. Be here 9 o'clock. And then for whatever reason, I was like 9:30. Got it.
So I texted him at like, I think it was like 8:15. I was like, hey man, see you in a few.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just kind of,
Yeah,
hey,
making sure. Yeah.
And then he didn't respond. I was like, dude, did he think I was joking?
Right. No,
Because he joking stuff
my
like that.
thought process was like, okay, I was like 9:30, but I'll get there at 9 just to hang out, and then hit traffic. 49 just shut down, so that redirected me. So just more of chaos. But that's my life. Just constant chaos like that.
So you got married? How many years now?
So it's 3 years. It'll be this year because we got married in 2021.
Nice.
We got married young.
So you got married. How old were you when you got married?
So I'm 25 now. So we're 22.
22.
22.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. 22.
I was
Good
21.
age.
I was 21.
dude.
Beat you there.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
So you're married. You got one child
One child,
named Ren.
Ren.
Screechy, the Screech kid.
Screech. Yes.
What is she? How old is she?
She just turned 1.
Ah, yes.
She turned 1 February 28th.
Mm.
And just it was a huge change.
Yeah.
First 6 months were awesome. I remember the first 6 months.
Dude, the first 6 months are the best.
You're like, they're kind of easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, so first
Other than
6 months. Right, first 6. Well, no, even sleep was okay. First 6 months, I did make the mistake of being like, man, I can't wait till she's moving around and like she's walking, making noises.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Not thinking like all she does now is obviously scream at us and put herself in harm's danger or harm's
way.
way. Like she's getting in the oven. You shut the oven and she's screaming at you. She's like, I want to get in there. Like you can't.
It's warm.
I'm sorry.
There's a nice orange light inside.
Yeah, she's trying to fall off ledges. She's just. So yeah,
Just
it's
a dumb kid.
Yeah,
I mean,
dumb
all of them are
kid.
dumb.
Yeah.
We were all dumb.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. You just literally they're on the edge of death every day.
right. Yeah, it's
All the time.
horrible.
Yeah.
Constant.
Finding stuff to choke on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
did you get this?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
They look at you like
Always-
this, and they're like,
I know.
right.
and you go up and you're like, open up. They're like, it's like a blade.
Yeah.
Dude, Raymond had a
I didn't even
quarter
know
in
I
her
owned
mouth.
this.
Yeah,
A quarter.
the other day.
dude.
I was like,
But-
she was playing with my money and she had some coins. I was like, all right, you can kind of play with those. Then all of a sudden I noticed, I turned around, one of them was missing. And then she was like huddled in the corner because I turned around and I was like, what do you have in your mouth? And she's like, I was like,
Yep.
But Ren's like, she gets mad about it now. She's got an attitude,
Yeah.
which I'm not a fan of. Like this is,
And it's only the
sort of funny.
1-year-old
It
attitude.
only gets
Right.
worse.
Yeah, it is funny now. Like her having an attitude. She gets mad at me, but I laugh at it. But I know it's just like this is not-
1-year-old attitude is kind of cute.
Exactly.
It's
Like,
like,
it's cute.
Okay,
Oh,
you're
That's
developing.
what I mean. Yeah, it's
2
cute.
and 3-year-old attitude.
It's horrible.
Oh, it's the worst.
not fun.
Right.
And I feel like if you have a boy, and I only have 2 girls, so I can't speak from experience on this. I feel like if you have a boy, it's like when they pop the attitude, there's a little bit more like of a like you can have more of like a masculine response, like
No doubt.
When it's a girl, it's like
It's
it's
very confusing.
Like you kind of
Yeah.
okay, I don't know, something.
Not me. I
you know?
definitely have like a, what are you doing? Just
Yeah.
like anytime she's doing
But
anything.
then eventually,
Well, there's that, but when it's a boy, you don't even have the "what are you doing?" It's like I
Yeah.
talk to you like you're a grown man. Like I know you're a
Yeah.
baby, but like no, you're a dude.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
It's
You're not going to
different.
challenge me.
Absolutely.
But whenever you say like "Gah," and then the girl gets scared or she's like,
Yeah.
it's like that's like, oh gosh, I'm being the toxic masculine guy. I don't want to be that
Come
guy.
on.
I don't wanna be that guy. Right. And then but with the guy, it's like,
Come
Yeah.
on, man.
This is what we do.
this is it. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
right.
Own it.
Like that's what I imagine.
Father,
I
I'm
could be
2.
wrong.
I don't care.
I don't
Own
care.
it.
It's time right
Exactly.
now.
You're a man now.
I just picture it being different.
It is.
It might not be, but it is.
It is.
It feels like it would be.
Yeah, I got 2 boys and a girl.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's just,
Yeah.
I think it should be. It's got to be different a little bit,
Yeah.
But that's cool though, man. So you're dad, you're a firefighter, you're a real estate agent, you're a husband. What else? What else do you do?
Uh,
What do you do for fun?
for fun, not much right now.
Oh,
Bum, 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 bum.
Do you like watching the UFC fights?
Well, yeah, just since Ren, we've slowed down. We're
Yeah.
not. I used to do a lot of extracurricular activities.
just
Like
fun life.
band
Right.
or-
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah,
You used to work out a lot more.
I used to work out a lot more.
Drugs? Like, what are we talking about?
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I used to snort cocaine. Oh,
I gotta do much less cocaine.
had
Ran
to-
down to my brick the other
It's
day.
really affecting my surf schedule.
had to put it down. No, just we used to hang out with a lot more people. I
Yeah.
was doing like jujitsu and stuff like that, working out a lot more. So since Ren, I've slowed down. Got to be home a lot more often, trying to watching more sports just because it's easy. So that's a hobby.
because you could be in your living room with the TV on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Watching more Bluey.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Bluey
fun.
is goated.
It was good.
Really, right now it's just running. That's all I can really do. Just from the house, just run.
Run away.
Just run. Yeah.
All I can do is just
Get
run
out of
away.
the house, run.
And every now and then I decide to come back home.
Yeah, exactly. I get thirsty, so I got to come back for water.
Oh.
But I mean, actually, I do enjoy hanging out with Shine and Ren. That's just, it's fun. I crave coming home just to be with them.
That's
See what
good.
Ren's up to.
That's good, man. How did you and Cheyenne meet?
Northwood here, Impact.
Ah, okay.
So
Impact.
I grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
This is like we moved here to Gulfport. I was 3. Northwood was the first place we came to.
You went to school here too.
Yeah,
didn't
I went to NCA
Dude.
up until it shut down.
a defender, right? You guys
Yeah,
went
we
to
were
Defenders?
defenders.
Wow.
We were.
Okay.
It didn't matter as much once you got older because we didn't go to competitions and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we were the defenders.
Didn't realize there was even any sports teams. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's back whenever I was in high school.
Right. So yeah, came to Northwood, went through the slew of each youth ministry. One way, Kids Zone, one way. Never made it to Straight Gate. Was never old enough. And then Impact started up, so I was old enough to go to Impact. Met Cheyenne. I think I was 8th grade. We were both in 8th grade. She came with her family, visited. I saw her. She was my height. That's kind of just, I saw her. She was like, oh, she's my height. I gotta go talk to her. So
Yeah.
talked to her, met. We dated in high school for a year, our 11th grade year, and then broke up. And then, our senior year, we weren't really dating. After high school, she went to Mississippi State for some time. I was kind of doing my own thing, working, trying to get on the fire department. And then she moved back. And I was never really the kind of guy to pursue a relationship. I dated Cheyenne and that was it. And I wasn't talking to a bunch of people I never wanted to date. But Cheyenne came back and it was like a, weird relationship. We became friends again. Started dating. I joined the fire department. She started working, and then it kind of just went from there. Got serious from there. So, yeah.
How long did y'all get back together before you got married? Like,
Okay, so that's 2018, joined the fire department. That's kind of when we started dating again. So from 2018 to 2021, really.
all right.
So in that time, 3-ish years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great, man. So y'all met at church. It's funny. I saw a stat yesterday. It was talking about. I think you actually sent it to us. It was it's talking about how people meet nowadays, and it was going back to like I don't know, God, the '60s or something like that. And it was like whether people meet because they met through friends or whether they met I don't know at school or something like that, or one of the other one was internet. How they met on the internet. And dude, the graph. It's like
Wild.
friends and all the other stuff is like, phew, and then the internet, like everybody
Straight
meets
up.
online nowadays.
Yeah.
Straight up.
You know?
That's wild.
I mean, there's just so many apps out there.
Yeah.
Me and Shine have talked about how the concept of dating is just it seems so weird to me because like I said, we dated in high school. That was my only ever girlfriend, only person I really ever pursued. Never like I said, being in a relationship was never like a priority for me. But Shine it just happened organically. So just like the thought of like if I was ever single again, like trying to go date somebody, it's like it just seems like so much work. And like it
Yeah.
seems,
Oh, dude.
like
I'm so glad that I missed out on the internet dating
yeah,
thing. Like,
trying to date people. Like I got guys I work with that they're telling me about their dates, and I'm like, this seems so like weird,
Like
it's
awkward?
awkward, and like
Yeah.
something out of a movie that just doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
Like it's just
I mean,
so-
you're putting yourself out there like hardcore, like, hey, I don't know you,
yeah.
but we might be compatible and like each other.
Right.
And maybe one day give our lives to one another. So
I
would you
like pictures of you. Do you like pictures of me?
Would you like to go get a hamburger together?
Right. Yeah.
Hamburger.
And then
So weird.
trying to build a relationship like that. Like, what do you like to do? What do you like to do? Where
Like starting from scratch.
yeah, that's
yeah.
as an adult, it's just weird.
It's gonna be hard. I mean, that's why it's such a big. That's why it's so funny we're talking about this. I feel I got a buddy. I'll keep his name out of it, but he posted last night on Facebook about his infatuation with this show on Netflix called Love Is Blind. Have y'all heard of it?
Yeah.
Isn't it where there's they don't see each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hadn't heard about it zero till last night. He posted. Well, here's the deal. We were all playing pickleball, right? I've been playing pickleball lately.
Nice.
By the way, super fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, do y'all know who AJ Jardina is?
Nope.
Yeah, the news anchor.
He was
anchor.
the sports newscaster here, like my whole life
Yeah.
growing up.
Okay. Yeah.
Like forever.
He works out at Planet Fitness.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Beast.
He started every single segment, like whenever they would like the camel
Yes.
code.
Yeah.
He'd go,
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Like that's how he started.
He had a great voice.
Yeah. Guess what? He plays pickleball.
Ah.
And guess what? Last night
He's really
we
good.
were on the team together.
Oh,
Like
Hey.
multiple times, me and AJ.
Dude, he's a legendary goat of the South.
Oh, dude, he's so cool. He's from New Orleans. Anyway,
Yeah.
Nice.
I had a good time. So I digress. We were playing pickleball, and this guy was out there, and all of a sudden he had to leave. I was like, all right, man, see you later. So we kept playing and get home, open up my phone, open up Facebook, and there he is. It's a picture of like the screen, and Love Is Blind. Can't wait. I've got a problem. I'm like,
he had to leave pickleball to go watch Love Is
yes,
Blind.
he did. I text.
That's
We were in a
rough.
group text. I was like, did you leave pickleball early to meet people at your house to watch Love Is Blind? And he was like, no, yes. I was like, dude,
That's
So,
crazy.
anyway, we had a lot of fun text messages about that. But yeah. So they apparently have 15 or 20 people, guys and girls, and
Classic.
Me and
they-
Shine have seen those shows to just see how unreal it is.
Oh, it's so
Dude,
bad.
The people are they're not real characters.
No.
It's crazy. I don't know where they get these people from, but they're not real characters trying to
Dude,
get in
and
a real
I was
relationship.
pretty shocked. It was like 26 years old and like account executive, this or that. Like
Right.
some of the titles they
Yeah.
had, I'm like, do you?
Of his Instagram account. That's what he's the executive of.
Yeah, right. I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what are you actually like? Come on, man. Influencer. It's like you have 1,000 followers and you paid for all of them.
right.
But no, yeah. So it's basically they don't see each other. They just talk to all these people, and I don't know. I guess at some point they end up choosing somebody to
Yeah.
potentially marry, but oh god, it's super awkward, super awkward. So, but yeah, dating's weird. It's where I had the same story though. Like me and Nadine, we were really the only real relationship that me and her had. I mean, she had a few other guys that she was. But when you're 7, it doesn't count, right?
No.
I mean, we
I don't think
try-
it counts until your parents stop having to drive you to a date.
Yeah. I don't
I could
think.
see that as a good. Oh, that's a problem nowadays, though, because kids don't get their license till they're like 25.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't think high school.
Let's just game together.
I wish, and this is another thing me and
FaceTime.
Shine have talked about too. Like, I don't think we I'm glad we dated in high school because it did lead us to getting married. Dating
Yeah.
again. But I wish we hadn't because it just wasn't like a.
Was it a good start?
Yeah, it was a pointless relationship. Like don't know what love is. We can't really love each other. It took away time from like other things we could have been doing.
Yeah.
Like 11th grade year was just I didn't have a great year. Lost a lot of friends because I was in a relationship. Didn't
Yeah.
really care about school. Quit sports. It was just I just gave up on a lot of stuff because I was like I'm in a relationship. But like I said, like it did lead us to getting married eventually. So I don't know. Got that. So I really don't think dating in high school should be a priority. You know what I mean?
Hot take.
Yeah, that is a hot take. I don't think.
Hot take.
I mean, focus on building yourself up. Live a life because like relationships always end up taking over your life. So
Yeah, it's funny. Me and Nadine, we started whenever we were 14. Started talking.
Yeah.
Started talking on the phone.
yeah,
And then we say that sometimes. We're like, man, we wish that we wouldn't have been so serious, like in the beginning, because of that. It took so much energy. It took so much time, so much drama. Just like because we had a pretty up and down relationship. Like it wasn't easy. It was a lot of fighting, a lot of just like we were just immature.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think most teenagers are, but like for us, it was just not like it was just wasn't a fun experience all the time. So somehow we we made it. I don't know. Like, I mean, if she was here, we could talk about it. Like, most other people would have been like, forget about it. We're out, you know? And, but, you know, it worked out. But at the same time, you know, you pick up really bad habits. When you have a bad dating relationship, especially for that long, you know, it kind of instills some bad habits that we had to actually undo. And we had to, most people start in marriage, you know, from a clean slate. Like, here we go. Ours, man, we had some horrible communication habits and things that took a while to unlearn and redo. And so it could be a positive and a negative, you know. And I think that's why a lot of people nowadays, they don't even try because it is a lot of work, which is a problem because, you know, marriage is good. It's hard, and that's what's talked about a lot, but it's so good. And dating and things, there's certain levels of maturity. And I say this with like not 100%, but for most people, there's a certain amount of maturity that you can hit and get to that. But until you're married, if you know, when you get married, it's another level of I say maturity because it's you are not living for yourself anymore. Like everything you just said, you're like, you can't, you know, scripturally, you can't. It's like you have this other person that you're one with now.
Right.
And so it's a game changer. It's a life changer and it's permanent. Yep. And then you have children and it's another level of sanctification.
Yeah, there's different levels of responsibility. Like you're single, you're responsible to yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. Whether you want to grow in those areas, it really doesn't affect anyone but you. Mm-hmm. And then once you get married, then you're accountable to another person. You know, like, and it's like I realize these responsibilities. Like, I got to provide for Cheyenne. You know, I got to pay the mortgage. I got to pay the bills, obviously, but I got to be there emotionally for her. And maybe I don't want to. Especially since I've known her for so long. But I know it's there. I got to be there first. I got to grow spiritually so that we can both grow spiritually. And then it really hit me whenever we had Ren, where it's like I really have to grow in these areas because eventually she's going to need me to be there for her, you know, spiritually, especially like one day she's going to have questions, one day she's going to have problems, and I'm going to have to be the guy to help her through that. Yeah. So it's kind of what I'm facing now. Is just like I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. You know, that name.
That's the rest of your life, right there.
Right. It was Ren.
Kylo Ren. Yeah.
From Star Wars. What is that? I shared the meme yesterday. Well,
there's the protein and dog feed.
Oh yeah, protein and dog feed.
I know what I have to do, but I don't have the strength to do it. But yeah, that's how it is with marriage. That's how I think about it. You know, I know that I need to grow in these areas, but I don't want to, or it's hard to.
Yeah. No, so. I think it's a super. It's a big topic that for our generation is not talked about a lot with guys, which is the responsibility of being the spiritual leader of your home and
the weight
your
of
wife
a man.
and your kids. Yeah. Oof. So it's and it's in an age of equality, egalitarianism, you know, some of which I obviously agree with. I mean, equality is good, right? And stuff like that. But when it comes to marriage and things like what you're experiencing is this natural way of like, wait, I'm the tip of the spear in our home.
I am responsible for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
relying on them to be responsible for
me.
Right.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like it makes no, you know, you think about it in the animal kingdom, right? It's like, you know, there's so many examples where it's like the male is the lion. You know, there's certain things that there's certain things the female does as well. Of course, I'm not saying that it's just all the man and
for sure.
And nothing. You know, there's no responsibility on the other side as well. But there's just certain roles or certain times. And then there's marriages that operate certain ways that based upon the personalities and different things of the people that you have to figure out in order for that home and that marriage to be healthy and thriving.
Yeah.
And it's those moments where you're like, oh, I actually have to step up right here, don't I? And there's a lot of people who encounter that moment, and it happens like in your mind or in your heart. You're like, okay, yeah, if I don't do this, this is going to be really bad in the future.
Yep.
And so a lot of people, they don't step up.
Yep.
They don't, at that moment, they're just like, nah, I don't want to do it. And that is a huge problem, a huge moment where the trajectory of that relationship changes. And that's where you start getting absentee fathers.
Exactly.
Fathers who are in the home, but they're not present. They're there, but they're not there. They're not involved. They just go ask your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ask your mom.
It's the definition of authentic manhood. Is that am I willing to take the responsibility of protecting and leading my family? I think that's the ultimate marker, really, of whenever that decision, that weight comes. It's like, am I going to say yes or am I going to say no? If you say no, man, it's allow God to maybe bring another opportunity to you so you can say yes again, because I think that's how you grow as a man.
I think it's real easy for a guy to be like, yeah, I go to work, I work so much, I pay the bills, I pay the mortgage, I provide in that sense and call it. But you know, Bible says differently. As being a Christian, you got to go that much more, that much harder. So
yeah, and there's certain moments that are there's small moments that kind of start testing that, and then it kind of prepares you. I think you were sort of saying that it sort of prepares you for the bigger moments. It's those small moments where it's like, okay, financially, whenever you first get married, it's like establishing a financial plan or something like that, and it's like that's a big thing, but especially in the early days, it's very small, like because you're young and you have so much time to plan for the future. It's sort of like, okay, let's just make sure we plan the bills and have enough to hang out.
Yeah.
Well, then as you get older, those smaller little decisions, they just get bigger.
exactly.
The older you get, and then you get kids, and it's like, okay, yeah, how are we going to raise our children? What kind of standards are we going to have? And all of a sudden, it's like if I have handed off the responsibility in smaller decisions and just kind of find a pattern, and it becomes a habit of just like, well, you just make that decision.
As we go.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, then all of a sudden you got a big situation. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do the same thing. It's like, no, you can't do the same thing.
No, this is like we need to sit together and talk about what decision we're gonna make.
Yeah,
I've definitely faced that in the past couple of years. Going from just me to just me and Cheyenne, which just you and your wife it's still pretty simple. Like you can. You don't have to plan too much, especially we were both working, and then going to with Ren. We decided Cheyenne was going to stay home with the baby. Then it was really all on me. But then you got to really plan. So we're really just like making decisions based on where you want to be in the future. Yeah, which is really tough. You can't really plan for now. Like I said, we slowed down now so that in the future we're set. So
yeah. I remember you came up to me. This had to been about maybe like a year ago or a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago. You had said, "Man, I really feel like you guys were planning for Ren. I think Ren was coming. Cheyenne was pregnant, and you were taking on a little bit more shifts at the department. And you kind of you mentioned to me, you're like, man, I feel like I'm not really trusting God to provide for us, and I'm taking all these shifts, and I'm getting convicted because I'm no longer serving. Yeah. And you're like, man, I feel like serving is what is actually like leading me to be a better man rather than trying to provide financially or gather more coins before our baby comes, know?
Yeah, and it's such a mental block. Yeah. Being like, if I could, it's such a, I don't even know how to explain it. Being like, obviously, if I'm bringing in more money, I'm going to definitely provide. Yeah. Whereas if I sacrifice that money to make sure I'm in church, make sure I'm serving more often, or doing that, making sure I'm there, that I'm going to be taken care of. It's like it still feels like a mental block at times where I'm like, it's going to be okay though. So yeah, but that's something over the past year that I've been working on for sure.
So like trying to grow in life, career, family, financially, whatever, versus also maintaining a presence in or attendance to church? How do you prioritize church life and family life and work life? Like, how do you, I guess that's kind of the balance there of like, what is that? How does that?
I'm still working on it. It's not like that's what I'm another reason I'm pursuing real estate is because I'm hoping it frees a lot more time for me to be home and to not have to work extra at the station. And eventually maybe replace it. Who knows? But it's like I'm still working on it to making sure I'm present on Sundays at the most, because Sundays are, church and then family day. But then, like I said, it's still a process for me right now that I'm hoping, pays out and works.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people, and it makes sense. Like, I'm not saying this like I can't believe people would do this, but it's just part of development and stuff. As you graduate high school, and of course, nowadays it's like everybody is so pressured to like know what they're going to do, feel like they're going to know what they're going to do at 18 years old for the rest of their life, and then you got to go to college immediately and spend tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on school or whatever the case is for 6 years of your prime, you know what I'm saying? Studying in order to then get the job that you've always wanted, and then you hate it when you get it. Some do. There's so much pressure around that, and that's another reason why so many people just they don't want to get married or get involved early, is because of all that pressure. It's like, dude, how can I choose what I want to do for the rest of my life, and then also include somebody else in that confusion? It's like, it's just not worth it, right?
Yeah.
So then, it's. So that scenario happens with a lot of people. But whether or not someone, let's say that we're talking about a person who is single and who wants to get married, and let's just say that that's kind of the route somebody's headed. No matter what, there always comes this other fork in the road where it's like, in that process is where is God in that, and where is the church in that? Yeah. And for most people, it feels like they have to kind of give up church in order to embrace this. And if they do this and they can't embrace that. And one thing for me growing up, and my parents were pastors. I grew up in a pastor's home. We prioritized church.
Exactly.
We did. And when I was, I was in this goes back to when I was in baseball. Like, I was like, from 5 to 12, I played baseball, and I made All-Stars most every year. And so you had your regular, we practiced on Tuesdays or whatever, Mondays, and game on Tuesday. Then we practiced on Thursdays, and we had game on Saturday. It was something like that. So it's like 4 days a week type thing. And then we had All-Stars, which we would travel a little bit, not like travel ball nowadays. Nowadays it's like,
it's wild.
Takes up their life. Yeah.
Yeah. It's every weekend, basically. It consumes. And so anyway, but when I was that age, my parents would say, they tell the coach straight up, they're like, hey, listen, Jordan's going to be here. I play first base or pitcher or catcher all the time. And so it was like, hey, listen, we're going to be here every single time, but we will not be here if there's a Wednesday night game, or he will leave at 6:30 because the church started at 7, leave at 6:30. And, Sunday mornings are not an option, and Sunday nights are not an option. And that was just established in the beginning. And so as a kid, it was already out of bounds for me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I mean, nowadays, like what I just said sounds archaic. Yeah. And then people think
Can't believe
this.
your dad would do that to you.
I was about to say it. Yeah. People think you're taking away opportunities of your kid for them to develop or have fun or whatever. And it didn't do that in my mind at that age. Yeah. Yes, there was a couple of all-star games. I'm talking like championship, like we're on our way to the championship, where I either had to leave earlier or show up late. And so that happened a couple times, And I will say this, nowadays, my parents would say this, they were a little too hardcore about some of that back in the day. I mean, we're talking 30 years ago, right? Yeah. So it's a little bit different. So, but I will tell you, even in what I would consider to be a little bit extreme a couple times in that, it still prioritized the church. And so as I got older, I got a job.
Yeah.
And what happened, I was 16 years old, and everybody worked weekends. Everybody worked weekends. And I was heavily involved in youth. And so youth was on Saturday nights. And then Sunday is church day. So my boss, I'm 16. I cannot work on I have to get off Saturday by like 3 or 4 because I've got to get to rehearsal, and I've got we got to set up the stage because the stage wasn't set up back then. We had to set up stage and do it. And then Sundays I can't work. And he was like, well, everybody works the weekends at some point. I was like, I won't be here on Sundays at all, and I will be leaving at 4 o'clock. And so, but here's the deal: I was a good employee, even at that age. Yeah. And I mean, I was there for a year, and towards the end of the time that I was there, I was one of the top. There was a month I was the top salesman. I'm 17 years old. There's guys who've been there since they were like 20, and they're like 35, and I'm out selling them. Well, I was a good employee. But I'm not going to be there because I'm prioritizing being with the body of Christ. See, that's the thing I think it's different is it's not just going to church. Yeah. It's what environment am I putting myself into? Mm-hmm. I'm putting myself in a sacred space. Mm-hmm. And, as you get older, it's your family. I'm showing up to an environment where the saints of God, okay, if we believe this, it's a spiritual thing, where the people of God are gathering together, a temple, to create a temple, a space where the presence of God can fill. Yes, I know we're all individually the temple of God, but when we gather together, the presence of God does something. He shows up in a special way. We talked about the manifest presence of God recently. There's prayer, there's fellowship, there's the word, there's worship. All of these things are taking place. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm in those environments, my faith and the core part of me is it's like life.
You're renewed.
Right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And so whenever I am not in those environments as much, or maybe, hey, let's say I'm sick or I'm on vacation or whatever the case is, and I'm not in an environment like that with the people of God for a couple of weeks or whatever, I feel different.
Exactly.
Yep.
I don't feel as renewed.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you have your personal time. Yes, of course. Right. But that's one container, one way of experiencing or putting myself in an environment that it's good, it's necessary, but it's different than with the whole. And so as I got older, I began to understand, like, I feel different whenever I'm not in those environments. And here's the deal. Typically, people will remove themselves from the spiritual church environment, but they're not going to remove themselves from the entertainment environments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, the church environment loses, the group environment loses, and that's the thing that gets replaced with the football game or the whatever, or the entertainment doesn't get replaced. The priority, it shows the priority, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so as you get older, like, I begin to realize, like, every single time that I choose to go to this environment over this one, like, I am prioritizing that environment. And that's going to pay dividends in my personal walk with God, in my family, in all these areas over time. And so it's like whenever you kind of peel back and with what you're talking about, you start putting that type of mindset around those small little decisions of, like, I don't know what it is, why I feel like I need to prioritize this over this. It's like, well, that's what you're doing in your family and in your marriage. And then your kids see that. And because kids might at times be like, well, why do we have to go to church again? Or let me explain why.
Yeah.
It's not just about showing up to put, for FaceTime or for, okay, I'm doing the religious duty. It's like, no, your soul is literally being encouraged in your faith in God. And let's go to the book of Acts and read how the early church, what they did when they gathered together, and how, Hebrews talks about some people have quit meeting together, and don't do that. Continue to meet together. To me, it's a priority thing, and
Yeah. So I kind of have like a same story with So in high school I played soccer, and I gave it up because I was on the worship team.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like a freshman or sophomore
Did
when
you
I
start in
fire tenders.
fire tenders?
I started fire
Oh,
tenders.
there was a fire tenders.
Let's
no,
go.
I had the
Dude.
T-shirt. I don't know. I
I
don't
had a
think I had
shirt.
it. Yeah.
That's terrible.
So I gave up soccer in high school, and I played it all growing up. I gave it up because they'd have soccer games on Wednesdays, and that's when Impact was, and I wanted to serve. And I think Thursday night rehearsals, and there was soccer practice. So I ended up giving it up to do that. And then the summers, I'd work at the water park as a lifeguard, and there were some days I was an intern, the Impact intern. I couldn't work those 2 days because I wanted to be here for that. And then because that was a priority for me for sure, just that something that my parents did a good job of instilling in me. But as I became an adult and started working in the fire department, not only did working on Sundays become financially beneficial, but it's also like an easy distraction that could take me away from being here on Sundays. Like, Sundays at the station are cake. Like, you're making money to eat pizza, hang out with the boys. Like, it'd be the four of us playing Madden all day. Maybe run a call or two.
It
Sounds.
Call of Duty, maybe?
It's kind of it's hard to pass up, like, us being boys together, hanging out on Sundays.
Yeah.
Not that nothing's wrong with it. It's just, but I was allowing it to, I'm like, oh, I'm getting paid, so this is right. But I'm also allowing it to distract me. And I think, what you brought up is like people prioritize social gatherings over being at church. Is that like sometimes being at church takes work. You have to come to church and be present.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting there. Obviously, if you're just sitting there, you're not really getting anything out of it. So you have to focus and be present and, engage. Whereas if you're just at a social gathering, you can just be there and enjoy it.
Right. I think when it comes to whether people, like, why do people attend or show up to certain environments or don't show up to certain environments, I think that there is a certain amount that it has to do with whether somebody desires to.
Yeah.
Like, actually wants to be somewhere or not.
Yeah.
Do you value it or not?
Yeah, like, do you want to be there? Like, if I would rather be there's certain environments I would rather be in. Why would I rather be in that environment than this one? And so whenever you talk about like having a responsibility, like if you're kind of talking about this earlier, like if I show up to church, I have a little bit more. I have to be more engaged.
Yeah.
Like it takes effort.
Like you said, you have the hunger and you want to grow. So
Yeah.
that takes work.
It takes work.
Yeah.
So I can show up to a football game and it takes no effort like out of me. I'm in complete consumer mode.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? As opposed to when I go to another environment, it's and it might be for growth or if I go to church and the pastor's teaching and I might get convicted. And so a believer actually embraces conviction. Like, I want to draw closer to God. And so if there's things in me that are not of God, I want to be in environments that would expose that, not maybe publicly, like I'm getting exposed before all the people, not that way, but exposed before God. Why? Because I know that on the other side of that conviction is repentance and purification. And on the other side of that, I am liberated in my soul from those things, and I'm drawn closer to God. Like, believers have that mindset. And so I desire to be in those environments. I desire to be in a group where I'm sitting with people having conversations about the Word of God or about tough things in our life, because I know that there's prayer and there's teaching and there's encouragement in that. And so, but I have a desire for that, right? And so I think sometimes that, like, if we could just really be honest as humans, why do people not prioritize a lot of things when it comes to church? Can it would be so cool just to hear somebody say, because I just really don't want it. And it's like, okay, honesty, that's good. Okay, now let's ask the question: why don't you want to be there? Well, it seems like a drag. Okay, why does it seem like a drag? Is it the church that you go to? Is it just not the place for you? Is there offense? There's so many questions to ask. But if there's none of those things and it's just, nah, man, actually, I don't have a desire to be in an environment where there's worship and prayer and teaching and fellowship with believers. Like, if I'm just honest, I would rather be on the beach. I would rather be anywhere than that. Well, now let's ask why. Like why? You know, and I don't know. For me, I've had to do that in my own life because there's definitely been seasons where I'm like, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But typically, I was not like really pursuing God in that season of my life as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. But it's amazing that when people pursue God, they also want to pursue being with the body of Christ at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whether it be a church service or a group or, I don't know, being in spiritual conversations. You know what I'm saying? Those two things, they tend to follow each other.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I perceive it. Not in like a legalistic, judgmental type of like rah 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 type of way, but in a sincere. Can we just be honest about why as people we prioritize certain things over others?
Yep.
I know.
It's a discipline. Like you have
It
to,
is a discipline.
you have to choose it. It's the same thing with like working out. Everybody
I was
thinks
just
that the
thinking
top
that.
of the wheel is motivation. It's like if
Yeah.
I get motivated, then I'll act. And it's like, no, actually motivation comes after action. And it's the same thing with church. You have to act and then you'll be motivated to continue acting. But if you sit around waiting to desire God and hunger God, like it's probably
gonna
not
happen.
going to happen.
And it's also
That's true.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Because you know, I think Northwood does a great job of. It's not a consumeristic theology. We're not like, not every sermon is going to be a how are you going to be how to make you a better Christian, a better person. It's really just how to be there for God, or how to be, you know what I mean?
How to be happy.
Yeah.
How to be happy.
Right.
Because we don't know how to be happy.
Exactly. People
If
want
you
to
know,
We're
people
so
will drop it in the comments.
Exactly.
Apparently, Jesus didn't know either because he's like, hey, guys,
Yeah.
you're going to go through a lot of tribulation and persecution. No, Lord, I want the one about it's going to be fun and
Yeah.
happy.
I need
Exactly.
7 tips to improve my life, Lord.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, going back to the working out analogy, I you know, Hilde's in our young adult guys group, and I kind of bring up this analogy a lot. I'm like, man, as when you go to the gym and you start doing like a tricep workout, like you start feeling the area in your tricep that's weak. It's like, man, whenever you show up to church, like engaging in the worship environment, engaging whenever we're being prayerful, engaging whenever the pastor or communicator is talking about the word, like that is you testing your soul against the weight of God's glory, and it reveals the weak points, you know? And it's like, oh, as a man, I see that as a weak area that I now need to work on.
Right.
You know, and because I'm a man, because I'm leading my family, because I'm leading Rayma and James, I'm like, I want to be the healthiest man, godly man I can be, because I have a responsibility as a man to lead my family well. And I don't want to look back and be like, man, I decided to take my family out of this environment because I wanted a more selfish thing, you know?
Yeah.
I just always want that to be the anchor.
And it's amazing that whenever you are in relationships with people who have those priorities, how it also encourages you to continue to have those priorities and continue to grow. If you hang out with people who are more health conscious, they work out, they live that kind of lifestyle, and you're around them, you naturally pick up those things as well. Those interests.
Yeah,
You know
those
what I'm saying?
habits, interests. You're right. If you get around disciplined people, you're going to be more disciplined naturally. I mean, it's going to start taking up. What is the law of the average of the 5 people you're around?
Right.
It's like, man, think about that. Think about the 5 people you hang around most. You are an average of them, whether it's their humor, their discipline, all of their habits, their good habits and their bad habits. That's what you're going to be the average of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's played out so many times in my life in the same way. And you have to adjust that. You know, I've never been one to like completely like blackball, you know, people in my life because it's like I have known some people like that. They're like, I'm only gonna. There's one guy, a few guys actually. It's like I'm only gonna have people in my life that will challenge me to grow.
Yeah.
And like if a person in my life does not help me to grow, then, and I'm like, oh, and really what it played out to be is they were just using people. So like that's an extreme thing. But it's knowing like, man, who I'm hanging around, I eventually will emulate and be like. And so who am I hanging around, and are they moving in that direction? Yeah, I mean, not 100%. I mean, God, we're going to have, you know, a lot of different people in our life. But like those who are influencing us, like we allow people to influence us, and everybody knows whenever somebody's influencing them, because you just have those thoughts. You're like, oh, wow, that sounds like so-and-so would say that. Oh, haha. Or I want to be around those people. And it's like, wait, why do I want to be around those people so much whenever their priorities in life are so different than mine?
Yeah.
Like, hold up. Are they beginning to influence the way that I think? If I'm hanging out with a guy and we're super, super close, but yet he's a horrible husband, like I have to be aware of that and say, okay, Jordan, don't let that mentality seep into you and then come out of you whenever you're engaging in conversation with your wife. Yeah. And as soon as I begin to recognize that influence, I have to pump the brakes in that relationship, you know, and that's not being mean to the other person. It's, I have a priority with my family and with, you know, whatever, and I'm prioritizing that over maybe that relationship. So good conversation.
Priorities.
Yeah, man.
They
This
matter.
is stuff that a lot of young guys especially don't really talk about that much. You hear it with some older guys a lot of times, because maybe they're looking back and they're like, I've made so many mistakes. You know, I didn't do that. Well, can we at younger ages have these types of conversations? And man, 3 years into marriage to be having these realizations and not 13 years into marriage. That's huge. Right. So well done, man.
Appreciate it. And I mean, that's not to say like I'm good at any of this. I'm still working on it. I got to preface it. Yeah, I'm still. I recognize
put the caveat in there.
I recognize.
I still suck as a husband. I just want you to know that.
I just know that I suck as a husband.
I should probably tell Cheyenne I love her, but
I mean, I'm not going to. I'll send her this clip.
Maybe I'm still
Can we
working on it.
post this short?
So, all right, a couple questions. As a firefighter, what is what you would consider to be like the funniest call that you have been that you've had to go out to?
Dude, what about you waving on the camera, that house fire?
Oh, yeah. We had a structure fire. I made it on the news. We had a structure fire, and it was, no, I mean, obviously structure fires suck. You know, people's losing their house. But we put a quick stop to it, so we saved their house. WLOX shows up, and they interviewed like a chief, but I was in the background. So I kept walking by, waving. Just to hope I made it, and I made it. I posted it, and I made it on the news. So
I never saw this.
Dude, that's great.
Yep, made it on the news.
Capitalization of the moment.
Right, yeah.
Well done.
There's definitely multiple calls. Like there's loads of calls. It's something funny has happened, but I can't really think of.
They start blending together.
Yeah,
Being
absolutely.
in the background of like photos and video is one of my favorite things to do. Anytime I see somebody taking a selfie or video, I am gonna be in your shot.
Right, yeah.
Like,
So
that's great.
So what's your favorite part about being a firefighter?
definitely the camaraderie. Just like I said, the guys you're with. I mean, if you're working on Christmas, you're working on a holiday, or I'm working on a Sunday. Sundays are typically slow. You know, we don't have too many chores or anything. We're just hanging out. I mean, we're all hanging out together. Like, just imagine the four of us. It's a Sunday. We order pizza, play Call of Duty, watch football, whatever. You know, we run a call or two. You can't really beat that, man.
Yeah.
Just a good group of guys. So really
I've heard that a lot, and it's true. You got to think about it. You're literally living with.
Absolutely.
It's like a fraternity house to a certain extent.
Yeah, and then you get to leave and go home.
Like you ask any firefighter,
It's like the best of both worlds.
like, what do you like the station you're at? And they're like, they're gonna say like, I like the crew I'm with. It's really not the station location; it's the crew you're with. If you have I mean, you could. It's your crew. Like right now, I'm kind of with a tough crew. They're older guys and they're grumpy. It's kind of tough to be around sometimes. So it's refreshing to be around guys my age. You know, got Joel Ladnier. He promoted.
Yep.
He's in charge of a station. He's a good guy. He's a good guy to work for. So that's exciting. Got guys like that coming up. So
who's the guy at the wedding with the red mustache?
Neil Clark. He's a good guy. He's been there for a while. He's an older guy.
A sailor too.
A sailor. He lives on a sailboat.
Right,
Lives on a sailboat.
He's a really nice guy. Really fun to be around.
He's cracking me up, man.
Yeah, he's real
We're
funny.
having a good time at Joel's wedding.
Yeah,
That was funny.
Hilde, do you remember? Was it you had just recently graduated, and it was when I was working with Stephen closely, and I was like, "Hey man, can you come help me make this promo video for our luau?"
Yes,
Dude.
absolutely. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, because I was thinking of things I've done in the church, you know.
Yep.
Because I'd watch the podcast with Amber, and it's like, what he was like, Mike was like, what brought you here? And she kind of talked about her being here, and I was thinking about like me being at Northwood.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, yeah, at one point, me and Brent made a barbecue video where you were dressed as a pig.
Yep.
I tackled you, and we ate pulled pork sandwiches.
Yep.
For a promo.
Yeah. So the promo was, I'm like, man, this is the joke. The joke is, Hilde is the friend of a pig. I bought a pig costume for the church. And we're walking around, we're like playing the ukulele together, worshiping, like hanging out, playing, like listening to music, walking down the hallway together. And then the final shot is Hilde in the corner eating a pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah.
And I open the door and I'm like, what are you doing? And I run and tackle him, and that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And it was a promo for a
luau.
It was a luau we were doing for students.
I remember when Impact started, because like I said, I never made it to Straight Gate. I had to wait till Impact, and I did not know what to expect, because I dressed, I like planned my outfit for Impact like the night before.
Yeah.
Gray shoes, great shirt, gray Bible. I had everything.
All gray.
All gray. But no one else had a Bible, so I was ready to steez on everybody. Just like I was ready to just.
You're ready to what?
Like steez, just like impress everybody.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I've never heard the word steez in my life.
Start using it. It's a good word.
I'm afraid to.
Yeah.
No, just to flex on everybody with my outfit matching my Bible. No one else had a Bible though.
Nobody else had a Bible.
No.
That's 2 flexes.
And I was really
2 C's.
I was really small too. I was young. You know, the Impact Straight Gate Impact was like the evolution of youth group has changed. You know,
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Impact, it'd be like 7th grade to like guys playing JUCO baseball. Somehow still an Impact.
Somehow still an Impact.
You know? Like a guy looked down at me, he's like, "You're too young to be here." And I'm like, "Dude, you work at Ingles. What are you doing here?" You know?